You aren't taking that.
Still Waffle.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
What's your goal?
Okay. Just go introduce us.
You introduce us?
Hello, I'm Darren.
Oh, and I'm Graham.
What did we just watch tonight, Graham?
I actually don't remember the name. What was it called? Was it Encounters?
Encounters at the End of the World by Werner Herzog.
Yep.
Tell everybody what it was about, please.
Well, actually, that's one of the kind of points I wanted to raise. It wasn't really about a great deal of things. There was a lot in it, and there's a lot that it was about, and it raised a lot of interesting questions. But I don't think it was particularly about one thing, other than the location. I guess is the main focus.
What was the location?
The Antarctic.
Okay.
So I guess it's about the Antarctic, to answer your question.
And what questions did you feel it raised?
Lots.
Such as?
Just lots of things. Like I don't know. There was no direct questions raised for the viewer, other than, well, I mean, none. But you were led to kind of question the origin of life and purpose and stuff like that, and the like meaning and the meaning that we give it, and strange meanings that we kind of impose on things which possibly might not have ever contemplated the fact that they are even alive, let alone any
creatures.
kind of... Yeah, I know, that's the general kind of gist of animals, is they don't really get that they're alive, but it was just an interesting perspective on it, because...
Maybe you should name some of the creatures we saw in the film.
Oh, well, we saw penguins, for a start.
We did see penguins, although it was committing suicide.
There was one penguin committing suicide, for definite. Like,
yeah.
That was assured to us at one point.
Yeah, he said
it was definitely killing itself.
The director said that he didn't want to just go and make a penguin film, like March of the Penguins, presumably. And then he did film a penguin, but he filmed one that was going crazy and just walking towards the mountains where it would presumably starve to death, I guess.
Yeah.
So he found a suicidal penguin.
He did. He was quite chuffed with the fact as well.
Yeah.
And this is the interesting thing about Herzog as well. He seems to relish the absurd, you know, and the kind of, not the supernatural, but the oddly bizarre. Like, I know they don't really work, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, the fact that it was like a postcard picture day when they arrived and stuff like that, and he wasn't comfortable.
Oh yeah,
with it.
With the weather.
So like, as soon as
he said
the climate changed into something like totally inhospitable,
that's when he was happy.
He was just much more pleased to get out there and get on with the...
Well, he likes his chaos, murder and disharmony.
He does.
Yeah.
It's his staple diet by the seams of it.
It is, and he thinks the world's gonna end, but humans are all gonna die, according to him and all the scientists he met down there at the Antarctic.
It's just another one of the questions he raised, is the fact that, like, you know, the dinosaurs were driven to extinction, he assumes, through natural reasons and forces and stuff. Why are humans so arrogant to think that we could avoid anything as horrifying?
I guess so. I have a point that I would like to raise. Do you remember that bit where the scientists had their ears to the ground and they were listening to the seals through the ice?
Yeah, through the ice, yeah.
That was faked.
Really?
Yeah. They don't do that.
I was kind of thinking, like, surely they just listen through whatever, you know, recording devices they have, which are designed to do that. But I guess if you could hear them, you might choose to. But I don't think that would be the ideal way. That's like 6 foot of frozen ice, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Most of the time.
But
so
does it not bother you that you watch a documentary and they faked something in it?
I don't... Documentary is a strong word. I mean, I know it obviously is considered a documentary, but it's just interesting how little science... It's not a documentary in the traditional sense where we explore and divulge and dissect a certain topic. It's just a clear look, and...
I think it's still a documentary. You know?
Yeah, but as I say, like, not in the traditional sense.
Well,
it's not
the traditional sense?
Well, picture a documentary, and I don't really see... This was like a very scattered version of what you might consider like lots of documentary style things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there was lots of different aspects of things. Like, a lot of the time it was focusing on just the landscape. A lot of the time it was focusing on the
So you don't think
scientists.
it was like
a lot
a
of them
normal
on the
documentary?
animals and stuff like that. No, not at all.
Because it didn't have just one topic.
For that reason, but also because of the style as well, which is Herzog's usual style, where it's not the scientists leading the course of questions and stuff like that. It's Herzog himself who has no
Couldn't
who
it
has
be a
no
documentary
background.
about the Antarctic and what's going on down there? Whether it be, hippies in their weird greenhouses or.
But they were all situated at this one base, so I kind of saw it as a documentary of a multitude of things, like of what he observed.
Well,
and
that might be true.
For the documentary, I would say is more about his experience rather than.
But that doesn't make it any less of a documentary, does it?
No, I know. I never said it wasn't. I was just saying it's just an abstract form of documentary. It's.
So I guess my question was, did it bother you that in that they faked stuff? Now that you know that scene, for example, was fake.
I'm trying to gauge my emotions about the fact now, and if I was any more of a documentary fan, I might be a little bothered by it, but I'm not, because I think it was such a minor thing. It was like a.
Well, I mean, that's all that I know is faked. He might have faked more stuff in it. I know that in Little Dieter Needs to Fly, the Rescue Dawn documentary, there's a bit in it where Dieter, or how you pronounce his name, walks into his house and like OCD style locks and unlocks all his windows and doors because he's like, having, like trauma of having been locked up in a prisoner of war camp in Vietnam. That was faked as well. Herzog just told him to do it.
Was it the case that he did do that anyway?
No. It was, I think, what Herzog calls his quest for ecstatic truth, which is like the truth behind the facts. So in like Dieter's case, he does feel like that, but didn't do it. He feels like, he has the memories of being in a prison camp and the trauma of it. And it's more effective to have him just fake doing something like that to get across to the audience what's going on than have him just say wasn't being locked up shit. So I guess that Herzog manipulates things in his documentaries, but to get across his point, so he makes things into metaphors and stuff like that instead.
Yeah, so it's kind of like just another. It's like he's kind of just introducing a new medium to the message.
Maybe.
Like it's kind of shown, not told. If he couldn't tell it, if he didn't want to tell it, I guess he could show it in a certain way.
Yeah, I guess some people just think the documentary shouldn't be fake. They should just be what it is.
I would say like it's a tough one.
Well, my feeling is that I don't know what the very first documentary was, but I know that the sort of first one to, have all the elements of what a documentary now is was Nanook of the North, and everything about that was faked. That's kind of what that's like the grandfather of documentaries, and in it they changed the actual Eskimo or Inuit or whatever. His wife, they just recast her. They had them using like bows and arrows and spears and stuff to hunt seals and whales instead of the guns that they actually used. They had interiors of igloos, they were just sets. So I think, fuck it, like, if we're looking at what a documentary is, then that's where it's come from, and it's been bullshit from the beginning. So why not? At least in Herzog's case, he's doing it to tell a story and get a point across, as opposed to just to invent something, because that's how we want to see it, like in the Eskimos' case.
I guess so. Yeah. That's interesting.
Thanks.
Well, yeah. So I enjoyed it a lot. As I say, it was interesting mostly, I think, because there were so many different aspects to the film. I mean, going from underwater,
Which looked like space.
Journeys and stuff like that, like trying to, get all the research in and stuff like that, to how they're catching, sight of neutrinos and stuff like that, with silver balloons and stuff.
The giant hot air balloon looking thing.
It's just amazing, like a full array, from the wildlife to the technology there. It was just the entire South Pole.
Yeah, I think. Well, it was just taking a camera there and seeing what's going on, and all that was what was going on. So I recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. I recommend also.
Not as good as Grizzly Man, but it's still good.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Grizzly. So that's interesting. Do you think Grizzly Man? What's better about Grizzly Man? Because this obviously had all the eccentric characters as well, and more.
Yeah, I like that, and I like that there's more of Herzog's kind of downbeat narration about how we're all going to die.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I like Grizzly Man more because firstly I like the story, secondly I like, all that sort of footage that he filmed when he was in the wild himself, and thirdly I like the contrast between Timothy Treadwell's positive outlook on everything and Herzog's downbeat one, which Mark Commode's, the film critic's director or something like that, when Commode filmed an interview with Herzog after Grizzly Man where Herzog ended up getting shot during the interview, and the director of that interview apparently described the film as being like, with the contrast of Timothy Treadwell's views and Herzog's views, as being like if Disney was mugged by Nietzsche.
Right,
and that is what I like about it, the difference of opinions.
It's true, and I think that's what I liked about Grizzly Man as well, is the fact that he doesn't. It's often about Herzog again, like he often says his opinion on the matter, and says like this is where me and Timothy differ in opinion and stuff like that, and I think that brings a new level to it where you're getting to know the documentary maker as well as the
but I mean
the guy we're exploring.
At least not in an attention-seeky way like Michael Moore's, where he's in every frame.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
No,
he's the face of his documentaries himself, isn't he? Whereas
Michael Moore, yeah, it's just Herzog has an outlook on life, and he's documented life, so he's going to document it from his point of view, and I enjoy seeing things from his point of view.
Okay.
So that's Encounters at the End of the World, I guess.
Give it a go.
Check it out, motherfucker.
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Bye.